Bloomberg Audio Studios. Podcasts, radio, news.
The Stock Movers Report, your roundup of companies making moves in the stock market, harnessing the power of Bloomberg data.
Now let's look at some of the stocks on the move today here in Europe. I'm Caroline Hepker alongside Jemana Basecci, and we're joined by Bloomberg reporter Chloe Mallet. Good morning.
Good morning.
So let's talk about the high street retailer Next and what they see is happening with the UK consumer. Obviously, it's led by a very well-known business figure in the UK. That's Lord Wolfson.
Yeah, absolutely. So quite a bad day for Next today. And of course, that's by extension bad news for that UK retail sector, given the status of Next as kind of that bellwether for the UK economy. So as you mentioned, the CEO said that there was the UK economy was struggling, and that was dragging down sales, and that sales in the second half of the year would be lower than the first half. He said that in particular, additional business taxes that came through in April, of course, really hurt employment, and that in turn is hurting consumer spending. He also noted that employment was facing an additional challenge, which was displacement through mechanization and AI. There's a couple of other reasons for the fact that the sales will be lower in the second half. There's some positive factors that happened in the first half that won't be here again for the second half. Good weather, for example, which in London now it's full autumn mode, I think, and then also a cyber attack that hurt M&S, which really benefited Next, but obviously that's now gone. But the real thing that is dragging down those sales will be that struggling UK economy. So we'll be keeping an eye on that for that wider retail sector as well.
Yeah, it does feel very autumnal, doesn't
Yes,
it? With
it
the
does.
First Lady arriving in full length Burberry trench coat, of course, was it anyway.
Let's switch over and talk about a Finnish firm, Kone. I believe that's the way it's pronounced. Possible M&A in that space?
Yeah, I do believe it's how it's pronounced, though I don't know. So I'm just going to, that's the way I've been pronouncing it. So hopefully that's the right way. So there's some M&A action in that elevator market. So Kone in Finland is said to be considering a bid for its rival TK elevator. And analysts said that this could potentially reshape that global elevator market. And for Kone, it could boost growth and boost margins as well. It's not the first time that Kone has made an approach to TK elevator. It's with CVC Capital Partners, they approached the firm back in 2020, but then they eventually dropped out. Now, the reason why they're coming back again is because the private equity owners of TK Elevator are preparing for a potential IPO of the company. So that's now kind of renewed Kone's interest. There are some potential risks with a deal like that, and including antitrust scrutiny. So Kone would probably need to have a partner to avoid any antitrust issues. But the fact that the shares are up this morning shows that investors are quite keen on a potential deal like this.
And just lastly, Continental, a big slump for their stock price. Why?
Yeah, so Continental is Continental's first day of trading after the spin-off of its Omovio business, which is the parts supplier business. So it sells auto parts like sensors and brake systems, and it was spinned off today on the Frankfurt Stock Exchange. As expected with the spin-off like this, the shares do drop massively. Now the market will really start focusing on what the opportunities and the challenges are for those two separate companies. So for Omovio, the challenge now is rising competition. It's also rising costs. Car makers are increasingly bringing those capabilities, those parts in-house. And then technology firms are also moving into that territory that was usually reserved for those traditional parts makers. So it's facing that competition. And for Continental, it's now focusing on being a tires-only business, which of course allows it to focus on what it does best, but it also makes it dependent on how well the car sector is doing, really.
The Stock Movers Report from Bloomberg Radio. Check back with us throughout the day for the latest roundup of companies making news on Wall Street. And for the latest market-moving headlines, listen to Bloomberg Radio live. Catch us on YouTube, Bloomberg.com, and on Apple CarPlay and Android Auto with the Bloomberg Business app.